Welcome to the Monroe Town Board meeting on July 21st, 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention? Could you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. In attendance this evening are to my immediate left, Councilman Cologne, to my right, Councilman Burke, to his right, Town Council, Mike Donnelly, and obviously Mary Ellen Beans, our town clerk. Before we begin, can you hear me now? Before we begin, I'd like to make just a brief announcement. There seems to have been some issue whether or not the town of Monroe is going to make some type of a sweeping statement regarding some issues concerning a meeting with the Curious Joel. They have not gotten back to me. Until they do, Councilman Malone will keep working on that for a suitable time.
Yes, thank you very much for working on that.
And we have Councilman Queta, I'm just mentioning, and Councilman Burke, sorry, Councilman Malone, about that. Sorry? Regarding a possible meeting with Curious Joel to discuss some of the issues between the two municipalities. I have not, they have not gotten back to me yet with some of the specifics. I know that Councilman Cologne is involved in it, and I guess we're just waiting for their next to follow up.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Okay, that being said, we have...
on that issue, are we going to set a date tonight to try and get that going?
We were just discussing that.
Sorry I was late.
Sorry, no, just that, again, there was a concern, I think, a couple of media requests, whether or not we were going to make some kind of a motion, or whether they got the information from it was incorrect. So we just wanted to update the board and the public regarding this.
As far as the meeting goes, at this point, the village has not gotten back to us to set a particular time, meeting place and time, and date.
That being said, we have upcoming meetings and announcements. Sorry, we have approval of minutes for June 26th. In attendance were Dole, McQuaid, and Burke. We need a motion to that effect.
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Aye. Abstain.
We have for upcoming meetings and dates, we have the conservation. We have the ZBA meeting tomorrow at 7:30. Please remember that on the 30th of July, we have a public hearing which begins at 6:30 for Shea Meadow Drainage District, a 7 p.m. public hearing for best value procurement, and immediately thereafter, a meeting for, I thought that we had one for the budget workshop, but I see that yes, it's rolled down to a different date. But it would be 7:30 for the budget workshop. That is not a town board meeting, it is a seminar which Peter, myself, Ann was there the other day, that we put together. So we invite you to that. We also have, on the 31st, we have the Conservation Commission. I want to thank the Conservation Commission for their work. I know that they had asked, and Ward, I apologize for this, that there's a vacancy. And if you give me the name again, you give me the name again. I don't have that name. Well,
No, we do. We have the name.
We'll make the motion. I'll make the motion. We read the resume of the person, and it's outstanding. We'd be more than happy. I would be more than happy to make the motion.
Yeah, the name is in the Conservation Commission monthly report.
You want to have a copy?
Her name is Bonnie Franson.
Did you want to make a motion? Does the board mind if we do that now?
Yeah, sure.
Board members?
You don't mind?
Yeah, I'd be happy to make a motion that we appoint Bonnie Franson to the Conservation Commission.
Second the motion?
call the question.
We need a second.
We need
I
a
can-
second.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
we
doing the
took-
volunteer for the town, it's a great thing, and we wish her a lot of luck in her new volunteer position.
Yeah, we had 2 applications, 2 resumes at the same time, and we actually were torn between the 2. We just picked, I think we went alphabetically.
Yes,
So
we did.
now there's another opening, so this well-qualified person can become a member of the Conservation Commission.
Gentlemen, anything else? Call the question.
Aye.
Okay. We have for a book donation program. This is a young lady, a Chloe Perella, who has volunteered. This is quite a nice effort on her part. She is organizing a book sale to be part of the annual Cheese Festival, and she is looking for some community participation to donate their gently used books. The donation bins will be located at the Monroe Senior Center, Monroe Town Hall, Smithville Park, and she's asking for any donations, nonfiction, children's or adults books in good conditions, and it would be greatly appreciated. All the proceeds from this event will benefit literacy programs in Orange County. That's just under our meeting, our announcements. We have, and this is comforting news, for the folks on the High Ridge Road. They were here 2 weeks ago in force, asserting their concerns regarding the conditions of the road and what the town could wind up doing in concert with the highway department to make sure that the funding was in place and something was going to be done in the very near future. We have a request that on Friday, July 25th to end Monday, July 28th, between the hours of 7:30 and 8 a.m., sorry, from 7:30 a.m. through 4 p.m., the cars are not permitted to be parked. We would ask George to be able to put that on the Channel 22, as well as change on the website. So we'll take care of that. Yes, sorry.
And in addition to that, Acres Road is actually scheduled for the 2 days before that.
Okay, then
This is for the reclamation.
For some reason, can you make the announcement? I'm having to go to this.
It's also the case that the Highway Department is going to be doing a reclamation project and repaving on Acres Road, and that will start on Wednesday. I believe that's the 23rd and 24th, and that's when the reclamation team then moves up to High Ridge Road for the next 2 days. And Ward paving is scheduled to be in the following week to do the paving on those roads.
All right, we'll try to speak louder. Just one.
Brand new mic, I don't know.
We have brand new mics, and I guess there's a little bit of finessing that needs to be associated with it. It's new, but I'll try to speak louder. Regarding and this is in line of what my book is saying, just an announcement regarding the boathouse at Round Lake. We're open daily from 10 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. The last rental goes out 1 hour before closing. As some of you have seen, we have these new giant yellow duckies, and they're quite extraordinary in that they between those, the swans, the kayaks, and the paddleboats, they took in $3,000 this week. That is a huge amount of money. And since May 25th, we've taken roughly $16,000 over at the boathouse. That is a huge amount of money. In addition, it represents about 250 units, plus anywhere between 750 to 1,000 people that would have visited the boathouse operations during the week. So we're getting a tremendous amount of traffic. Our concern is making sure that it's properly controlled. These are things that we're looking at and trying to do more effectively. Regarding the budgetary transfers, Peter, there is no request for a budgetary transfer. Also, we need a resolution to pay the bills.
I'll make the motion to pay the bills.
I'll second the motion.
Gentlemen, call the question.
Aye.
Aye.
We have on file for the ambulance corps, we do not, nor the assessor for buildings and permits. We have a total of single attached units totaling 4, commercial units 3, miscellaneous 103 for permits, and monthly total of 110. We have a permit report which is on file from the town building inspector. For those who would like to see that information regarding the comptroller's report. Bear with me. We have our report which is submitted by the Conservation Commission. Peter, your report? No. So we have the Conservation report which is submitted. Ward, if you'd like to give a report, otherwise the submission is online. They'll be able to see it. There's some things. One of the concerns was a Round Lake outflow. We received an alert by one of the residents regarding some additional debris that was gathering at, and we mentioned, you told me about it the other day. So we're going to make sure that it's monitored in the AM and in PM. So that additional debris will be removed from the grate or the gate that is used as part for safety and part for collecting debris. But however it's getting through, we're going to make sure that we reduce it as best as we can. The Highway Superintendent, we received his report. We have our dial-a-bus report. The courts, we have received their totals for the month, which is on file. Fines and fees total $12,926. We have the dial-a-bus report for dated July 1st. There's a total of 2,180 reservations, seniors transported 984, 400 handicapped, and 984 from the express route. The dial bus had a total of 2,479 riders with a total of 8,000 plus revenue miles. Additionally, we're going to have our inaugural run from North Main Street Elementary, and that's going to be a daily route. I think it starts at 9:30 and 10 o'clock in the morning, and it will be going to the Monroe Library over at 8's Heim. So we're looking forward to that. It's a daily, Monday through Friday. The board secured funds for the repair of one of the buses for approximately $4,000 and change. It's up to speed now, and we'll be picking the students up, and whoever would like to coordinate a reservation with the dial bus, please do. And if they can make the arrangements to get you over to the library for that route, we would be happy to see it happen. We have a refuse report. We have very few complaints. The historian's report is in total 72.15 hours this month. Also, I spoke with the historian in detail today for quite a while about him perhaps working with the town and providing some type of signage and some type of historical narrative at a couple of the locations. For example, Faber Farm, signage about Faber Farm, the history of it, the people that the generations that many of us have forgotten about, and he's looking forward to that, as well as other venues in the town of Monroe, areas that many of us probably are not familiar with. Some of us who grew up here are extremely familiar with, but it'll be educational to say the least, and I'm sure that the board will support whatever ancillary costs are going to be associated with the signage, and do what we need to do to make sure that the history of Monroe is remembered for all, remembered always. We have a report from the chair of Moodna, Jerry McQuaid.
Yeah, the Moodna Sewer Basin Commission is doing a good job, Mr. Green, his leadership, the foreman. We have 2 workers that have been there a relatively short amount of time, 2 full-time workers are doing great. They're learning the whole system, and it takes a while to get their knowledge up to speed compared to the long-term workers, but they're being trained properly now, and they're doing a good job, and we're happy to have brought them aboard due to retirements and such, and hope to have continued success with the Mudna Group, and we'd like to thank Mr. Green for all his efforts.
We have the Orange County Legislators report was received. However, there's one slight issue. It's regarding number 5. During the Monday, July 7th meeting, Supervisor Earl stated that the county agreed to give Kearsarge the sewer capacity necessary to enable it to become a city. I asked George to go over that. He reviewed the tape, and if found to be correct, I certainly would have misstated, but he found nothing that would support that. So I would ask the county legislator just to review her notes or the tape, and then we can resolve that one issue regarding her submission for July's legislators report. Moving on to the town engineer. Moving on to the senior center. On June 16th, the seniors attended an event over at Villa Roma, and then on July 7th to the Mohegan Sun, and then Crutch's Caterers, they were the folks that did the catering. So seniors are fortunate, we're fortunate that we're able to provide the venue for some of their activities. So we thank them, and obviously we thank Anne Marie for doing the job that she's been doing so well for so long. Hats off to her. Regarding the town clerk, Marianne.
We're just getting ready for the hunting season. The licenses will be going on sale early this year. It'll be the first week of August, so we're getting ready for that. It's a whole new system. Unfortunately, I find the system works a lot slower, so I'm hoping that everybody has a little patience when they come in, when we have large lines for the licenses. Also, we've been working on the new town website. It's been going along very well, and we're hoping within the month that it will be up and running, and I think once the public sees it, they're going to be very happy with the new website.
Thank you. We have for the town engineer, we don't have a submission. For the town park and for Monroe, we do not have a submission. Regarding the water districts, Jack Sherry, who has done the water for perhaps the past year, there was an incident in Water District. Peter, help me on this one. 2?
Yeah.
On Water District 2 a couple weeks ago. But that's been mitigated, and
pumps are on order. We've had pumps that are going in about 3 or 4 different places.
And for the folks at Water District 14, please know that we're there. My phone is always on, so if you needed to contact me, they know where to reach me. So if there's ever an issue, either Jack Sherry or myself regarding Water 14, that the other districts aren't equal in terms of importance, but that is obviously an aging and old system that needs a lot of hand-holding. We have, for new business, actually we have no old business. This is the first time in many years that the town doesn't have any old business. We seem to have been able to do a lot of the work that we needed to do. Some things we probably need to address that's just backed up. But some of the complaints people had, we're trying to answer them directly. We have some things over by Macon Road, some homeowners issues that we're trying to sort out, see how we can provide some kind of relief if we're able to, according to state law. So we're working on that. For those people, you know, who I'm talking to, and we're trying to resolve some of these issues. And if and when we can, we'll discuss it more openly in public. But until then, we need to try to take a more of a more collaborative approach to try to find some of the issues that these people, some of the residents in that area are plagued with. We have on the new business, we have for Nugent and Hausler, our accountants, board approval for the supervisor to sign their annual contract. This is the contract, it's already a year.
Yeah, this is the pickup. You authorized bringing them in here on an emergency basis near the end of the year, near March, so that we could get the books, so we could prepare the system to close the books. And we need now we're into some more fine tuning. Proposal is to have them here 2 days now and 2 days at the end of the year. And by then we should have our books in really good shape.
They did a good job last year. I don't see any reason. Again, this is something which the controller has control on, other than the authorization to expend funds on behalf of the town board. So I need a motion to approve the supervisor to sign the contract for Nugent and Hausler, accountants for the town of Monroe.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
Well, discussion, I'd like to just say, I think from what I've understood, they've done a good job so far, and the comptroller has the confidence in them. The finance department has confidence in them. And when we go with our professionals and their professional opinions, I've met with them once or twice. I saw them at work in our offices and talked briefly with the group. And I think that we have confidence in them for the town.
We have this new agency. They took over from the last agency
Yes.
because there were issues with the last agency.
There were, and I'm going to be careful how I frame this. There seems to be a systemic function of within the accounting process statewide with the courts, local courts. We are mandated to do certain things. The courts are not accountants. However, the accountants have to be there for us to be able to comply with state law according to the Office of Court Administration. So the court here in the town of Monroe is vigorous in making sure that it complies with the accounting requirements that may have somehow have not been addressed in the manner which was prescribed under the Office of Court Administration. But Nugent and Hauser did it last year, and Peter, and that's correct. Purpose in part is to continue that review, which is an Office of Court Administration requirement, which the court itself, I know, supports completely. We're just trying to make sure they have the tools to be able to.
Well, I understand that we're trying to get things straight, but as I said before, with the last agency, I know you weren't exactly happy with them. I was more than unhappy with them, and I'm just aggravated at that we had to hire somebody else to undo or complete what the last agency didn't do.
You phrased it elegantly, and I thank you for that, because we're just trying to make sure we comply.
Right, I understand this is for compliance, but I'm just still annoyed with the last, more than annoyed with the last agency.
We need a motion then?
We did that.
Well, call the question.
Is discussion over?
Is there discussion? Any further discussion?
So they are, I just want to get this point clear. This agency is an independent source to verify our books.
Peter?
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Because we have a controller, we have a bookmaker, bookkeeper, not bookmaker. So there's one or two in the town, we have just about everything else.
Yes, and that's...
In New York State
Requires it.
encourages having an independent auditor
Verification order.
for verification. And in this case, they're helping us clean up some things from the past that were done less than
Stellar.
accurately or stellar.
Well, that's why I'm more than annoyed with the
I
last
share,
agency.
well, as much as you're upset about
To
it,
get our damn money
I share
back.
your concern. I was very upset about it. So we're on the right track, things are going well, and we have not increased the budget by any means.
Gentlemen, that being said, unless there's further discussion, call the question.
Aye.
Okay. There's a request from Highway authorization to sell some surplus vehicles. I'll read it off to you. It's a 97 Ford Expedition. It's the blue one that we all remember. It is beyond repair. We have a 2001 Dodge Rat Body truck, as 2001 International truck, a 1997 Ford Pittsburgh Chipper, a cement mixer, a Lindsay compressor, a mini black top roller, a giant leap back machine, and 32 tires that do not fit the current fleet. The above vehicles are either surplus or the cost of repair is exorbitant. So we need an approval to authorize to send it out for auction at Auction International.
I'll make that motion to sell the excess.
We need a second.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Call a question.
Aye.
We have requests for school crossing signs and a caution school zone signs in the vicinity of 156 Acres Road. This is a signage, which I'm assuming the highway superintendent has requested. It's needed according to the memo that I have here. Bear with me. 156, yes, 156 Acres Road. We need a motion for that.
I'll make the motion.
We need a second to discussion.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Gentlemen, call the question.
Well, is there any price, or we just assume that it's?
It's signed, we don't have the price. Which I'm assuming it's in the budget because
All
we're
right.
doing acres and this is a school crossing.
Right, we probably have those signs in stock too.
The crossing signs, I'm assuming we do. If not, then they'll have to be purchased.
There's a striping also as part of the request.
We don't have the striping here. We have the signs and the caution signs.
Okay.
So if you want to make an amendment right now to include, upon request by the highway superintendent, the striping, that's fine with me.
He made the request, that's.
Do you want to include the striping?
I'd be.
Yes, striping if
If required.
required, it should be done.
Okay. Then, any discussion on this?
Do you want to amend your motion to include striping?
I'd like to amend that to include the striping.
Okay, I'll second that again. Okay.
Any further discussion?
I think it's necessary stuff that we need to do, so let's do it.
Call the question.
Aye.
We have, I'm going out of line, out of sequence, we're having D. This is the town of Monroe to purchase a Ford 550 vehicle at the quoted price of $95,964. That's from Henderson Truck Equipment, and I believe, Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, that's on state bid, am I correct?
That is correct.
So we've met the requirements on the state bid for the purchase. This is a large vehicle. Now, for some of you, just a couple weeks ago, we made an authorization to purchase for $262,000,
A tandem.
something like that, a tandem. That replaces a vehicle which what they qualify, I think, any longer as a vehicle. It was so rusted, it was an embarrassment.
Wasn't roadworthy.
It wasn't, and it needed to be substituted, needed to be replaced. We made the motion for it. These things are costly. There's a schedule that we should adopt when, if given the financial integrity of the town. Fortunately, we're in better shape than most other places. But this $95,964 represents a piece of equipment which is needed, and it's going to take a couple of months to get. So I need a motion to authorize the purchase of the Ford F-550 medium-duty dump body plow package. Mr. Brown.
I know,
I usually
no,
won't allow
Anthony's
this.
not here, but I do have a question. When you inspect these trucks,
To the mic.
No, I'm with you, because but I know that you're so involved in this, and I'll give you some latitude
I'm
here.
just saying, I have, years ago, going back about 3 years ago, we tried to make an environmental change, cutting the salt use down by adding more sand. And we found out, because trucks were specified for salt, which is lighter than sand, we couldn't do that. So when we're making these specifications, now's the time to specify it so you can handle the maximum amount of weight, whether you use it or not. You're talking pennies. You got a $95,000 vehicle, wouldn't cost you more than $1,000 at the most to upgrade the specs. That's my comment.
Ward, I will take it under advisement with the highway superintendent. I'll submit the request to him, and thank you. Generally, we don't take this as, take comment, but we appreciate Mr. Brower's position here. We need a motion to that effect. $95,964.
Can we add to that?
In case.
Well, why don't we add on,
We did 98,000.
You
What's right?
cannot add what
State bid.
on a state bid vehicle unless that equipment has been called out in the bid granting process, award process. So if it's there and it hadn't been asked for, you could do that. But if it's not there and you add it on, then you have to change the entire bidding process.
Or just purchase it after that. Okay.
So if you want to,
Let's do this. Let's do the 95,964. I'll write a memo to the highway based on Mr. Bauer's input and see where we can go from that point on. But at least we know it's ordered. Otherwise, we're going to have another 2-week delay. If that meets with the board's approval.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, well, why don't you talk to Highway first thing in the morning and see what we have to do?
I'll do it in the morning. Okay. John? Okay.
I'll make the motion for the purchase,
Based on that,
based on that price with the state bid, that truck, the Ford, was it F-150?
No, it's a 550.
F-550, sorry, wrong number, F-550.
The largest the
Okay.
Ford makes at this point is 6.
And I just hope you'll talk to the Highway Department in the morning. Do I have a second?
No second.
Call the question.
Well, let's just add that it also includes a lot of equipment that comes with it. And I'm sure, is this bid available for the public to see? Do we have it posted
It's
anyplace?
online. And it's a county, it's a piggyback on the county of Westchester. By the state law, we're allowed to piggyback both local as well as federal bids. So this was a piggyback on the county of Westchester's.
Okay, but if the public wants to see what's included, they could look.
Yes. Well, I believe that it's posted online. If that's not correct, we know that there's a copy, Mary Ellen, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a copy with the town clerk on file. Mary Ellen?
Yes, I got my
Okay.
packet.
Her mic is not working too well. The answer is yes. We're
And
affirming.
it really, it's in the agenda packet, so it should be on the website,
Okay.
in the agenda packet.
Okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
good.
Now, and talking about things like the website, but in this case, it's the approval of expenditures for PEG equipment. Remember, the PEG equipment, I'm sorry, we need to make a call question.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. This is for approval of expenditure for PEG equipment. This is for the public education and government. It says grant, but that's not correct. It's public education and government money. We received approximately $25,000, or in the process of receiving $25,000 for the Cablevision contract. George and I, especially George, we have researched this inside and out. We've listened to Cablevision in terms of who they consider to be the best source of the type of hardware as well as software needed to be able to bring the best resolution, the most cutting-edge today type of technology to the town in the form of a much more enhanced, much more programmable, much more efficient, much more friendly type of an interface, which would provide that for not only channel 22, but to expand it to both the public and education channel. Right now we see, and I'm trying to read from my notes here, right now we see this example on channel 21 from Wappinger Falls. Wappinger Falls is an example of an open channel of which Cablevision provides access for. It's somehow piped into the town of Monroe because we don't have that channel secured, but we will. It's part of our Cablevision contract. As such, we need the equipment to be able to do it. We need the software. George spends hours sometimes literally just changing a page because on channel 22. And the reason for it is the technology is so old, it's no longer supported. It's about 10 to 12 years of age. There's just no software. It's ancient history in its worst form. So this would replace virtually everything. It would provide for multi-purpose, multi-camera type of use that would be remotely programmable. It would allow for it to be used not only here, but there would be a camera so that you can have real-time events. As I mentioned to the town, we had a staff meeting today. It would allow, for instance, if we had over at the Smithlow Park, if there was an event there, a children's football game, or anything, you can imagine we will have the resource to be able to stream it, to broadcast it live, and also in tandem with the website, we'll be able to stream it as well as archive it on the website. This equipment complements the website, but it's a standalone unit which allows the expansion of Channel 22 and beyond to the other two channels for education and for the public channels, so that we have a much more seamless, much more user-friendly type of an interface. And you'll see it has, as the company Tektronix shows, the name of the company, if you want to see it, how it's used, it's called, sorry, not Tektronix, Leightronics. That's Leightronics. This is Leightronics. This is the company which Cablevision, which is News 12, is a subsidiary of. Leightronics is their source for hardware. So the total amount is for, and gentlemen, please review this. We've gone over the numbers. It's for $43,892. It includes a laundry list of different hardware as well as software, and it also includes, and George, correct me if I'm wrong, it also includes the hosting fees, because remember, video is extremely high, eats up a lot of bandwidth, and it provides for us to be able to have that bandwidth without having to host it ourselves. For example, it's the one-year hosting and streaming, for example, on video on demand service for what's called the Ultra Nexus 1 system. So people will be able to see it on demand, they'll be able to see it live. So all those events that you have that you would probably like to see, perhaps generated on one of the public access channels, we'll be able to accommodate you wherever and whenever. This also extends a helping hand to the village of Monroe to be able to help satisfy their Cablevision contractual requirement to be able to make sure that their village board meetings are shown, as well as the village of Harriman. The village of Harriman has a bit of a unique system because it's part in Harriman and part in the part in the town of Monroe and part in the town of Woodbury. So I believe they have an on and off switch that they can decide what they want to show and when they want to decide it. But it includes all of the hardware, all the software, as well as the extremely dense hosting and streaming service. And so where we are. Again, it's the company that was successful in the bidding is G&G Technologies. G&G, the way that this works with the company Leightronics, and I spoke with council about this today, is that it seems as though its first one in is the one with the biggest discount, and they apply that discount, which is the first, which is 15% discount from Leightronics. This way, I guess they wind up having their marketplace such that they give the first person that gets the business a discount so that others can't compete. I don't know the answer. All I know is that this is the best price that we could get. So we've got those issues. Those items which are smaller in purchase are extremely competitive, but it's a one aggregated amount totaling $43,892, of which $25,000 is accounted for. Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, accounted for in the Cablevision contract. So
That's correct.
we need a motion for that, for discussion.
I'll make a motion for the using of the PEG money plus money from the town to upgrade our systems and bring us into the 21st century for the total price of $43,892.90.
I'll second that elegant motion.
And just for the record, gentlemen, so if you can imagine, well, who else uses this in the local area? Warwick uses it, same equipment. Woodbury uses it, same equipment. If anybody wants to get an idea as to like exactly how diverse the equipment is, go to the town of Greenberg. We were there a couple of times. We spoke with a gentleman there who runs the program for the town of Greenberg. They also host 7 other municipalities. That's how fluent they are in the language of public access TV. It is mind-boggling what they're able to do, and we are duplicating that hardware and software. So we will be way ahead of the curve at this point. The only part is that there was a concern about a replacement on HD equipment, but it seems as though that HD equipment, when it occurs in the future, and it doesn't seem as though it's going to occur in the foreseeable future, we would be able to replace the Lexus Nexus, Ultra Nexus system for an HD system upgrade without any cost. So we have that as a, sorry?
My only, we were given $25,000 by the Cablevision.
Right.
And this is a very ambitious thing. I'm not doubting that this thing does everything but walk and quack with the best of the ducks out there, but the problem is we're going from 25,000 to 43. And like you said, there's another municipality out there that's hosting several other municipalities. We're only hosting us. I mean, why are we spending so much? I mean, it's a top-of-line system. I'm not doubting that. I'm not doubting that.
That's a good point, because whether you host 1 or you host 5, in this case, we hope that the village of Monroe will want to broadcast their events and their more meetings. It's to be able to broadcast this, what you see here would be replaced with our equipment. The problem, the issue is they have their equipment. This wouldn't be for the broadcast of channel 22, but it would be so that the equipment here, not that which is served, that which is provided on the server and all that equipment, but the actual cameras.
I got that. But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that you guys didn't do your homework in getting the best equipment. I'm not saying that it can't do all of this. I'm just saying at this point and this juncture, for us to go actually almost double the amount of what we're getting from the cable, not quite, just shy of double. It's gone from 25 to 43. I mean, we're not a professional network. We're a town, and we just want to program our board meetings. I mean, maybe we should run commercials on,
Well, we can't.
I wish we could. I mean, our readership, our viewership has gone way through the roof. I mean, everybody watches us. I mean, I hear about it all over town, believe it or not, like it or not. But what I'm saying is, we're spending another, what,
$19,000
$20,000 more than what we started out. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's not top shelf. I'm just saying, is this really worth this expenditure? I personally see it.
You're currently,
The board's permission, Peter.
Yeah, okay.
thank you. You're currently dealing with a really outdated system in town. And in fact, today, the channel 22 was down.
Right.
It went down.
Right.
I don't know if it even came back up, did George?
Not yet?
Not yet. You're running on really antiquated stuff.
How old is the stuff?
It goes back 15 years old, more than. It
Right.
goes back to the original contract.
And?
So what you have today in front of you is what people do for this today. And it is
Plus
what
the
it is.
cameras, plus.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying we shouldn't replace what we have. I'm saying that we really need $43,000.
replacing what you have would probably be a mistake, because in today's world, it's like it runs on a DOS program, okay? What you have right now is
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what we have now is approximately 15 years old. The new contract that we have with Cablevision is for how long?
13 years.
13 years. So we're going to be having the same discussion 13 years from now.
You might, I won't.
Well, I'm just saying the town will be having the same conversation 13 years from now, because the technology that changes, just even in the phones, It's like every 6 months they come out with another phone, bigger, brighter, this, that, and the other. All I'm simply saying is, for the recording and what we do, because we're going to be getting real top-end stuff for today. 10, 14 years from now, we're going to be spending, you know, the equivalent. Where filming is one thing and broadcasting is another. Now we want to do live stream and all these other things at a cost of almost $20,000 over and above what we were getting.
$6,000, $27.95, $16.59, $25. That
Comes out to 19 cents.
No. That $6,000 is the cost for streaming, for the different housing of the content. I had encouraged Peter, I had encouraged us to incur the additional expenses for the live streaming. And the reason for that is because when we live stream, we're not only live streaming into Channel 22, we're also streaming into the website and into the mobile apps. So we've got that ability for a person who doesn't have Channel 22 to be able to go to their computer, go to their smartphone, to be able to stream directly live or retrieve from the website, which this is not part of, to be able to retrieve from the website those parts which are archived, but those parts which are streamed live, those can be viewed immediately in the smartphone from Channel 22 vis-a-vis the website, if I'm saying it correctly.
Or they can go to YouTube.
They can't necessarily go to YouTube because there's, again, if there's a concert, if there's a, well, part of it is content. We have FCC regulations which do not allow us to do certain things. We have to have a delay.
Well, all I'm just saying, yeah, I get that, but all I'm just saying is the 20,000 is where I'm, 20K is a lot of money.
Gentlemen, is there any?
Well, the only thing I'll say, I understand Rick's concern about the money. It's $19,000 more than what we're getting from the cable company. But if you look at what the comptroller mentioned about how old the system is, and he knows he was here when it was put in. If you look at the fact that it's running off a DOS system, which nothing does today, everything's gone several phases past that, and also our consultant, George Carney, has told me on numerous occasions he's keeping this whole system together with thread and needle, and there's been many times where we've lost our ability to put the signal out, where we've had to change things, and he's been down there for hours at a time just trying to keep things running with the old system. And eventually, as he's been told by other experts in the business, when he's asked them their opinion on, you know, obviously as he's researched this, our system is at the point where it could almost crash and not be able to, well, not be able to ever come back. I mean, this could be a disaster. And you know what? In today's world, for $43,892.90, if we could bring Monroe up to speed and be a system that we're all proud of, I think it's a worthwhile investment. For if it's 13 years from now, maybe things get antiquated in 13 years. There might be something to do then. I mean, that's for the future.
I'm not saying our system should not be replaced. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, do we have to spend the extra $20? That's all I'm saying. I understand our system is old.
Okay.
I know it has to be replaced. That was the whole thing of going to a 13-year contract, to get the extra money, and then we would have an up-to-date system. Now we want to go from up-to-date to, a Bentley type system.
And Rick, let me just say one more thing. For example, I believe that the Village of Monroe picked up $6,000 or $7,000 for equipment. They've never bought equipment. The equipment is sitting there. Now, what does, let's say, for example, the town of Greenberg do? They wind up negotiating with their villages to be able to host those meetings. Part of that is they're sitting with $6,000 plus worth of equipment money. Well, you shouldn't be sitting on it. Either you develop your own, which I don't think they have the ability to be able to do because they never got enough money to be able to have a startup cost, or why don't you work out with the town? We'll host, we'll provide the opportunity to be able to do that, so we have money coming in for a fee.
No, well, working off of that, wouldn't it be best if we work with the two villages and say, combine, give us the money that you normally have, we can host your system and we can even put it.
You're right, because both the Village of Harriman and the Village of Monroe both receive money. However, it might be a little bit more problematic, and again, I don't know the legal issue when it comes to the contractual dissimilarities, because part of the Village of Harriman is divided into the town of Woodbury as well. So if they're willing to do that, so that they can have expanded coverage, they would have coverage from Woodbury, which has an almost identical type of a system, as well as from the town of Monroe. But that's regarding the Village of Harriman.
Well, the town could reach out and ask them if they want to do that.
That's now a step in the right direction.
All right. By the way, and Chester does not have this, am I correct? So Chester is also an option.
I am not doubting it's not a top shelf. What I'm saying is that over and above, and can we get the other municipalities to chip in to less than the $20,000 burden so they can share in this top shelf system?
Okay.
That's all. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Well, that's,
Will you ask the mayors?
I'll put it down, I'll send it out tomorrow to them.
Thank you. Good idea, Rick, on that end.
Gentlemen, that being said, is there any further discussion? That being said,
Can we vote on it next meeting?
I see no reason to, unless,
No, because if we get extra money,
but that's extra money, it's not subject to.
It'll lessen the cost. We'll put the money into the budget. Yeah. I think that with the system that we have, we should do this as expeditiously as possible, expediently, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is a first-class town. Citizens of this town work in a lot of industries, and they're ahead of some of those industries, and they can take a look at this and they can be proud of it. And I'm ready to vote for it. I'd like to see it go ahead immediately.
Gentlemen, that being said, may we call the question?
Aye.
Aye. We have a request for the resolution for the YMCA to use the Orange and Rockland property for their 5K run. It's subject to the certificate of insurance, which will be presented this week, from what I understand. It's a resolution to use YMCA to use the Orange County property for the 5K run, and I see also this one is for the movies Under the Stars.
right.
And that's over by 208. Need a motion?
I'll make the motion that they can use the property for the 5K run and the movies Under the Stars.
Subject to certificate of insurance, any discussion?
Yeah, pending insurance.
Yeah. I'll second it.
Okay.
Sounds like a great idea.
Call the question?
Aye.
And the last one is a motion to approve appraisal of real property. This is something which we had discussed, but in order for us to be able to pursue any type of a further dialogue, we need to know what the property is going to be appraised at. That's the request is for the appraisal of real property.
Not to exceed
And, sorry, not to exceed $2,500.
What property?
We're not at liberty to discuss that. Council, Council?
No, yeah, if you identify it, it could confuse other competitive impulses. I think the town was permitted to keep purchases and contract negotiations like that protected.
I'm not stepping into this one. I've had my stomach full on the last one, buddy.
Gentlemen, this is a property which we discussed 2 weeks ago.
We can assess it and then put it out to the public to see if they really want us to get it back.
We understand the public's need to know what we're doing. However, regarding this particular property, we need to get an appraisal in, and it's something which is part of how government winds up negotiating best value regarding a property. I think if anyone out there knows where we're going with this, they would be pleased. And I think if we can find the right, situation, we have something really to be able to provide to the public. Gentlemen, I need a motion then for to approve an appraisal of real property not to exceed $2,500.
Okay, so that means what you're proposing, what the option here is that the appraisal itself will not exceed $2,500 in the appraisal fees.
That's correct. Peter,
Okay,
that's correct.
and that's the appraisal.
Yes.
Not to exceed.
Not to
Okay,
exceed $2,500.
this is just an appraisal of property, and obviously,
Absolutely.
the attorney has advised us that we can, and I guess our super has said that we should keep this as just an appraisal for now. So seeing as how nothing's being bought, I will make the motion to have an appraisal of real property for a fee not to exceed $2,500.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
I'm not touching it.
Okay. Call the question.
Aye.
Aye. Gentlemen, we need to move to...
So we stick along, 3-1.
The vote was nay. Nay. That means no. I'm not touching that.
Jerry, you wanted to...
Yeah, I wanted to bring up a couple things, please. I was hoping to put two things on the new business, if that's all right. I'd like to make a motion that the town of Monroe pay the village of Harriman an amount of $1,744.67, which was owed since 2005, before this board was seated. And it was due to engineering costs that were promised to be shared between the town of Monroe and the village of Harriman. We've gotten several correspondences in my time on the board about this issue, and I've always thought it was something that should be explored. I briefly talked to Mayor Welly, and I sent a message to him and his answering machine with his clerk, and as I requested, he sent me a letter about the request, about the money owed, and he feels that the board should at least address this. He said this at a board meeting in the past, and I think the time has come that we pay this money back. So I'm making the motion that we pay it to the village of Harriman, the money that's owed.
Yeah, I'll second that, and then let's have a discussion.
All right, I would like, for discussion, if it meets the board's approval, I'd like to have someone with some historical knowledge, Peter Martin, the comptroller, to explain the situation that happened back when he was on the board. If you would, Peter. I know we talked about it.
Yeah, well, this goes back to when the Harriman Business Park was being developed, and there were issues about water wells that would be perfected as the process moved forward. And because the village of Harriman was going to be the operator for those wells, they were involved, and so there were lengthy discussions back and forth with the planning board and the town board about this. And at some point, the sharing of the cost of the engineer to develop a report was brought to the table. And initially, it was accepted by both boards. And then, I guess, a rift between the two boards at a later time caused this to be postponed and not paid. So, I think at the time it was a legitimate cost that was borne, and there was, I believe there was a report that was written, and your motion could be based on that, if you get a copy of that, if you don't have it in town hall.
Okay, so let's get a copy of that, as the comptroller mentioned, but I trust the validity of what the mayor sent me, as for the amount of $1,744.67. And I think it's about time that we get this past us. The money had been owed. I mean, it's past the legal, I guess, requirement of when we have to pay, but in good faith with the village of Harriman, I think that we should move forward with this and get it done.
I'd like to say yes, absolutely.
Gentlemen, any further discussion on this?
Just to add that the village of Harriman is part of the town of Monroe.
All right, gentlemen, fine.
Okay, so we'll check those numbers again, Peter, with that, and we'll make sure we get make sure we get that check out as soon as possible, if you all agree to it.
We gotta,
$1,744.67
we
to
gentlemen,
the Village of Harriman.
we have to vote on that.
Yes, we do.
Great. Gentlemen, that being said, call the question, please.
Aye.
Okay, that being said,
I also want to just say one thing, that Mayor Welly has come to the board and asked for this, and it got delayed. We're sorry for the delay on that. It was not purposeful, it just kind of happened that way. So on the delay issue, I apologize. There's other issues in Harriman. I was talking to some residents of Harriman this past weekend, where they're talking about, in their opinion, as residents of Harriman, and hopefully we'll have discussions. I know I'll talk to the mayor, and they were talking about some intermunicipal things that might be in both of our interests as the village and the town, that we can have some agreements that if the village and the town agree to, some of the citizens might like. I will reach out to the mayor and maybe have a discussion with him myself, or maybe with the deputy mayor. I think that there were, as Peter mentioned, maybe some hard feelings here and there between the boards. And I think it's time to move past that and do what's best for everybody. So thank you for that.
And one item that several citizens of Harriman brought up was that they're excluded from using Smith Clove Park. They don't pay towards its upkeep, and their children can't go to that park. They don't have the ID for it. So I think we should start to have a discussion with our Parks Commission. Right now, the park's run by the town of Monroe and the village of Monroe. We pay something like $302,000 a year. So I think we should be able to negotiate with the village of Harriman and see that they become, have the ability to use that park. They're citizens of the town of Monroe, and it just seems exclusionary. It doesn't seem like something that we'd like to do. So we'll talk about that and see if we can come up with some progress.
Well, this is one of the issues, Dan, as you are aware of, that we talked about. I think we got to talk to the village government and also the village of Monroe government and see what could be agreed upon, if it's a way to get everyone together on something, or maybe user fees or whatever it is for the town parks, the village parks, or even Harriman's parks. They have some beautiful parkland over there too. But we'll see what happens.
I'm glad you gentlemen have brought this up, because I wanted to bring up this issue today, and I'm glad you have. The people who live in the town of Monroe, not in the village of Harriman, in the town of Monroe, but have a postal address, in other words, they have the address of Harriman, cannot use Smith Clove Park. So I happen to be one of those persons myself, not that I'm using that. Their kids cannot go to the GAP program. And I think that we should be addressing that. I mean, these are people that are paying for this. They don't live in Harriman. They live in the town of Monroe, in the unincorporated, outside the village of Harriman, and they're not allowed to use Smith Clove. And I just found out about that. We have to address that.
Well, there's many issues we can address between the
I heard it this past week.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously an error, because people who live in the town of Monroe and pay taxes in the town of Monroe pay through the upkeep of Smith Clove Park.
That's correct.
And have every right to use it. If their driver's license or whatever ID they have says Harriman on it, there should be some other way they can show that they live in the tax-paying area of the town of Monroe.
Well, they can show different types of identification with
And the tax bill.
utility bills and tax bills. So
So
let's look into these things as we move along with the villages and the parks.
Yeah, Councilman Cologne, maybe you could identify that person, to us, and then we'll see what we can do
how
about
about
that.
31 Berlin Road? You can sell my address.
Yeah, okay, have you been turned down?
I haven't applied. Why don't
Let's start with you, Rick.
got a test. Let's use my address first.
Get us a person, so we'll have an actual case.
31 Berlin Road.
He's sitting right next to me.
Right here.
All right, very good. We can move on with that now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
gentlemen, we need a,
You're-
we need to call the question. Peter, one question, is that an A fund distribution?
Yours,
No.
So, well, Peter,
Are we, what fund are we?
we'll figure that out.
It would be on the B fund.
Okay, we'll make sure it's done the correct way. We had the pleasure of Mr. Welly, Mayor Welly, with our budget, noticing that we had appropriated some money from the wrong fund to pay for something, and we corrected that problem. and we thank him for his observations. The other thing I'd like to say is, I think that we should, and I'm not putting the responsibility on anyone else, I did talk to one member who's a representative of the village of KJ today, and they are interested in having...
That needs to be,
Okay, I just...
We already,
no, you made the motion. You have to vote on it.
You said aye.
we said aye on it.
You said aye. Anyway, and they are interested in having a joint meeting. They would like to have public input. They are interested in, obviously, both factors of, they would like to be lead agent in the secret process. They also would want to then have an agreement to make every effort and quick efforts to become their own town. I think that the meeting we had the other 2 weeks ago, the public did comment. We will have a chance to have an open meeting where government representatives from KJ and people from the town board, I don't know who would be there, but I would like to be there, and our attorney and their attorneys, to publicly discuss the options and the intentions of such a deal where something positive would happen, in my opinion, where KJ would become their own town. I think time has come. I think there's an opportunity here to push this forward. And as I said the other meeting to everybody, it would be giving them basically what they're going to get anyway if you follow the law and the history of secret and lead agency. So, if we were to do it, and we'll have to decide that at a later date, but at least have a meeting to bring it up and give the public a chance to listen, is the fact that there is a chance, without giving up anything that we really have, because we, from all I've been told from lawyers in the county, our own lawyer, we're not going to win lead agency. That's just how it is. That's the legal precedent. That's how it is. Now, if we can get something out of it, we can make something happen that a lot of the population wanted in the last election, where there's a great division between the village of KJ and people outside the village of KJ. And perhaps we can make it where they become their own entity, their own town. We retain the town of Monroe, village of Harriman, village of Monroe as the town of Monroe, and we move forward as good neighbors. And it will, in my opinion, be the best thing for the future of Monroe. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think we should take an opportunity to push this forward while we have something to offer. Now, you might not agree, but with what I saw happen in the last election, I think there's a great division in this town, more than I've ever seen it. And I feel that even though me personally, I've never had a problem living in this village of Monroe and coexisting with KJ peacefully, I never thought they were, quote unquote, any kind of problem for the town of Monroe, the village of Monroe, or the village of Harriman. Now, other people might feel differently, and that's your right. But if you do feel that way, then you should be in favor of making such a move. Logically speaking, without emotion. Now, the fact is, we should move forward. I hope that the supervisor and the Councilman Cologne, I know he was in favor of getting that public meeting. I hope that we can push that meeting.
Sir, there's no outburst, please. I'm asking you to keep your comments to yourself.
I hope that we can push forward and get a public meeting together. Some suggestions that came from the attorneys from our town, and I believe their town, I'm not sure exactly suggested it, was, we mentioned at the last meeting, maybe one of the board members might have said it also, we could have a separate website made so that people can put in their questions and comments and opinions on this that would be looked over by both boards and all attorneys involved, and we can see what people are thinking and what the general consensus is. We have a loud vocal group here in the senior center, but people I've talked to also around the town and village where I've lived for a long time, a lot of people seem to think that it's a good idea to move forward and have KJ become their own town. So, that is something that we should talk about. Because as I said to you last week, if you let the opportunity pass by, and in my opinion, what's going on is politics with this thing, and probably we'll get a decision, which we should have had, I believe it was June 2nd, which we, May 2nd, then June 2nd passed, July 2nd passed. I'll make a little prediction. It's probably going to go, let's see, past November. And then what's going to happen is, and I'll make another prediction, this is just me speaking as a citizen and someone with a little political experience, they'll get the lead agency, because that's what happens. The village or whoever's taking in people and providing services gets lead agency. That's just how it works. So let's use this opportunity to make something else happen. And everybody here who doesn't agree with that, that's fine, but I think it's an opportunity we shouldn't let go by. I've lived here a long time, and I think that the sentiment is people would be happier if they were on their own, and they would be out of the town. Now, if you're so much from having them in the town, then please make your comments. We're going to hopefully set up a website as soon as we know when the meeting is. Excuse me. We're going to,
Gentlemen, please,
excuse me,
we're about ready to end the meeting.
yes, if I can just finish briefly. We'll set up a website that everyone can send their comments and concerns to, including the input from the trustees and the governors, the mayors of the villages, Harriman and Monroe, and any private citizens. We might even hear from many other people. Probably we'll hear from people who don't even live in Monroe. That's their opinion. But
How about us?
well, we hear from you. You can put your comments in too. And the fact of the matter is, we'll all look at them and take them very seriously, and we'll see what happens in the future. But we should have a meeting. It was brought up last meeting by Councilman Cologne. I agreed with him, and we put off a decision on this because the public seemed to be, and I think rightfully so, upset that it would be put in too quickly. So we decided, as a board, we voted 2-2, and we want to look into this though. So thank you very much.
It's not a meeting.
Mr. McQuaid.
Excuse me, John. John, excuse me, John. You let me finish. I could speak, and then when you speak,
just one moment.
the fact of the matter is, people have a right to put their comments in. We're going to set up a whole separate website just for that. We'll see what else is involved. We'll see what else is involved.
Councilman McQuaid.
But that at the very least. That at the very least. Anyway, that's my comment. I appreciate you not calling out and interrupting me.
May I? First off, yes, I did call for a meeting, an open public forum to discuss this issue with both the town and the village. I don't think anybody should go into this meeting automatically giving up any kind of position, be it lead agency or anything else. As I said before, this is the beginning of dialogue. Let's not go in with a preconceived notion of this is a foregone conclusion. I am not going to second guess the thought, the DEC, or anybody else. Let's begin the conversation with the people who are most affected. That is, the people in this town and the people in the village. And we have to start somewhere. That's my feeling is, let's start without preconceived notions of what's going to happen in the future. Let's begin this. Mr. Doles, Supervisor Doles said in the beginning that he put out there that we should have this meeting. He hasn't gotten back. I will also contact the people of KJ as well. And between Mr. Doles and myself, we'll set a date and a time for this meeting. Of course, we will always want to have input from the public, from the town, any questions that they may want us to bring up in this forum, and then we'll have an open mic. Let's get this going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
With that being said, and obviously, as I discussed with the press earlier today, that I had no intent on reintroducing a resolution, but to let the other board members obviously have voice their opinion. I'm glad both of you did, and I thank you for that. That being said, unless there's any other comment, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to executive discussion and to attorney-client for 3 issues of personnel. Ladies and gentlemen?
Absolutely. Yes. The public will get enough notice. It's not going to be the meeting set. No, it's not going to be. No. Gentlemen, thank you. People will have enough time.
It shouldn't be after Labor Day.
I just want to make one comment. There will be plenty of time ahead of time where the meeting will be noticed. I'll make a motion to adjourn to an executive session and attorney-client.
I'll second the motion.
I second.
Aye.